For me, I was an expert criticizer. I could criticize myself all day long.
High five.
Right?
Can you tell me why that video?
For me, I need to have integrity behind everything I do. If it's a gimmicky product that swears you're gonna lose weight, I'm not doing it.
What would you suggest for someone who is just starting and
Stick to the plan, not your mood. If your foundation is shaky, then everything you do is gonna be unsustainable. Could you lose the 10 pounds really quickly? Yes. Are you going to be able to keep it off? No. The people who are leaving you negative comments are projecting their pain onto you.
So today's conversation is for every woman who has ever felt tired of fighting her own body. We talk a lot about women's health from outside, weight, fitness, appearance, but not enough about what it emotionally feels like to live inside a body that feels confusing, exhausting, or out of balance. And that's why I'm very happy to have our special guest today, Kerolin. Kerolin is a fitness instructor, a mother of two, and someone who has navigated her way through PCOS, and not only navigated her way but made it a mission to help other women who are suffering the same. What I truly appreciate about Kerolin is her honesty. She is not someone who sells perfect transformations or fake promises or that magic pill or quick fixes. She speaks truth and openly talks about the difficult parts too.
If you're hoping that you don't actually have to make any fundamental changes to your life and your habits, and somehow miraculously the results and the progress are going to fall into your lap because you put in 3 to 5% effort, it's not. Being fit is not for the weak.
So today's episode is going to be super special because here we are not talking as experts. Kerolin will be talking as someone who has learned a few things along the way and still did not find all the answers, but willing to share everything she has learned so far without any gatekeeping. So thank you so much, Kerolin.
Thank you for having me. It's wonderful to be here.
Yesterday, I was scanning your whole Instagram profile. I came across this very interesting video of yours, which I felt was very brave.
Okay.
And you were calling out all these fitness influencers for lying. I feel that's very important, and that was very honest of you to call them out, because I have first-hand experience some of those influencers. They were on drugs for losing weight.
Of course.
And they were just telling these people how disciplined they are. And what I love about you and your husband as a fitness influencer is the fact that you're always out there sharing your weak points, your vulnerabilities, where you lack. So that is very important. So can you tell me why that video? Because I could feel a lot of anger in that why you're deceiving my people,
So I think because I've been in the fitness industry since I was 17. Long time.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of people will create content that will get them a lot of attention and a lot of views.
Yeah.
And oftentimes that means coming up with very inflammatory statements or statements that are not true. The latest thing is peptides right now, right? I don't know if you've done research about this or seen it on your social media.
Peptides, not really.
Well, GLP-1 is a peptide, right?
Okay.
So there's a lot of people who make a lot of claims on social media that, as someone who has been in it for so many years, I know it's not true, right? You see women who have done BBLs or they've gotten plastic surgery and then they're out there selling their booty programs. And I remember once being a young 20-year-old thinking, there must be something wrong with me because I'm not getting the results that everybody else seems to be getting, right? And I think it's more often than not, most females are going to turn the mirror back on themselves and say, oh, I'm doing something wrong, or I need to spend this amount of money or get this modification in order to look like that person, right? Because it's just not happening for me. So I think that's where the rage was coming from there. I don't like dishonesty. I think you need to be honest about how long something is going to take. So I think when people go on social media and they lie, it really grinds my gears.
Yes,
Mm.
yes. I came across this video where a doctor was calling out an influencer, and this influencer was sharing, I went to all the doctors and they had no answers, and then I found this magic tea. So the doctor was calling her out that no doctor gave you this answer because they were not paid to promote that product. They were
So
being
true.
honest.
Yeah, so true.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think it's scary that we live in a world where profit, it takes precedence over honesty
Yes.
and integrity, right?
Yeah.
And I think you always need to, you can't mislead people,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to sleep with myself, so
Yes, but there are people who are unfortunately doing that.
for sure.
And I feel bad for the youngsters or the young girls who are following them, because
Same.
on another occasion, I came across this lady who was taking Monjaro, that drug, and she had so many side effects, but she was claiming that she's trying to be active. But the fact was, she was not doing anything at all. She was not moving her body. She was just taking these drugs and having constant symptoms, but she was lying about it. And I felt very deceived. I mean, not that I was influenced by her, but how you can do that to young girls.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I think the youngins are on more than we're on, right?
Yeah.
So their whole perception is shaped by what they're seeing on social media. And I think a lot of people are using apps that change the shape of their bodies, that
Yes.
change the texture of their skin.
Yeah.
And I think it's doing a disservice to the younger generations for sure. It's creating like what do they call it? iPhone face.
Yes.
Have you heard of that expression? iPhone
Yes.
face?
Yes.
Like, these are real faces,
Yeah.
but then people go and they try to get filters and Botox and whatever to look like their iPhone version. So
One thing about your journey as an influencer, just are you also doing some paid collaborations now?
Yeah.
Okay, so do you have some strict rules around it that you're only going to do paid collaborations with brands that you really count on or you have used firsthand?
yes.
Okay.
So personally, and I'll tell you a story about this after, I don't ever promote something that I don't use myself. Sure, like if you say, because I do some UGC, user generated content as well. And I'll only apply to things or accept things that I use in my life. For example, I did a creatine collaboration. With my chest, I can advertise that and say, you should use this too.
Okay.
But a while ago, I got an email for this weight loss hack, okay? And it was a weighted hula hoop. And I think they offered me something like $12,000.
Wow.
It was a lot of money.
Yeah.
So at first, of course, initially you're like, oh, that's so exciting. I hadn't even seen what the product was. And then when I saw the product, my stomach dropped. And I said, I'm not doing this.
What was that? Hula hoop?
A weighted hula hoop.
Okay.
So essentially it just goes around here, a tight band, and then there's a weighted ball attached to it. And it promises that you're going to see all these weight loss results if you use the product. Now, I said, absolutely not. I didn't even respond. I was so offended that they even requested that I collaborate with them.
Yeah.
Because my content, it shows me you haven't watched my content. I like to be honest. I like
Yes.
to have integrity. I like to be transparent, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm not doing this, right? So then they come back maybe 3 days later and they're like, I don't know if you saw my email, but we'll pay you $15,000.
Okay.
I ignored it again. And then they messaged me one more time and they said, we'll pay you $20,000 to advertise this. I didn't even respond. Maybe that's not professional. I don't know. Maybe I'm exposing myself. But I was flabbergasted that somebody would want to pay someone $20,000 to advertise a product, one they've never used and tried. I'm not your demographic. I wasn't there saying, oh, I'm trying to lose weight and all of my content being around weight loss. That wasn't even me. So to me, it's like you're just going to pay anyone who you think has some level of influence.
Yeah.
And I think it was for my TikTok where I have 100,000 plus followers, right?
Okay.
So for me, I need to have integrity behind everything I do. If it's a gimmicky product that swears you're going to lose weight, I'm not doing it. I'm not co-signing it because I know and I understand that it's not the product that's going to get you the results. It's the consistency, it's the movement, it's the eating properly that's going to get you results. So,
Do you come across some clients who want quick fixes and magic pills all the time?
yeah, of course, of
And
course.
is it frustrating? Like, same patterns are repeating again and again, or
I wouldn't say at first, when I first started out as a coach, yes, it felt frustrating because your client's success is your success, right?
Yes.
So you take it very personally. The ego wants to make it a thing, right? But for me, now I say, okay, this is where you are in your journey. I was there too once, right?
Yeah.
Like I remember after giving birth, I gained over 50 pounds when I got pregnant with my son, who is 13, almost 14 now. So a long time ago. I gained a lot of weight, and I remember feeling like, what is this body I'm left back with, I felt so, and this was when I very much did not like myself at the time still. So I would look at myself and just constantly criticize the jiggle and the stretch marks and everything else. And I desperately wanted to lose weight quickly too. So I have a lot of empathy for people who are there right now. And I understand that we all have to start somewhere.
Yeah. So what do you tell them? Let's say someone is coming that, okay, I don't have time for that kind of discipline. You cannot say them outright, no, okay, I cannot be your coach, right? You cannot do that as a teacher or as a coach.
No.
So how do you start?
I say, what's your rush? What's the hurry? Like, this is a marathon. It's not a sprint, right? This is a commitment you make for the rest of your life. And anything that's quick is not sustainable. Could you lose the 10 pounds really quickly? Yes. Are you going to be able to keep it off? No, because the way that you're achieving it is not a sustainable approach. So I would start there. I also have told people that if you're looking for quick fixes and quick weight loss, then I'm not the coach for you. I do say that outright because I don't want to waste your time, and I certainly don't want to waste my time.
Yeah. And have you ever told this to someone?
Of course.
Oh, and how do they perceive it?
I think a lot of people don't know what they want and what they need, right? Because remember earlier I was talking about feeling desperate.
Yeah.
I think when you're feeling desperate and then you're stuck in that, oh, I hate my body, I hate myself right now, I'm a failure. When you're in that space, you're going to act out of desperation. You're going to want things to happen quickly so that you can feel happier or feel better, right? And I think once you give them permission to slow down and to give them a new perspective, I think they see that, okay, maybe this person knows what they're talking about and I don't need to rush this.
Yeah.
You
Because sometimes you're right, people don't have clarity. They don't know,
No.
especially in the age of social media where you have so many ideas. I feel I'm a very grounded person, but if I am scrolling my Instagram, it makes you feel that you're not good enough. You're not doing anything in life.
Yeah.
And then thanks to the awareness that I have, when I sit meditate, I feel like, okay, it's coming from there.
No, you're right. And I think the information overload
Yeah.
is overwhelming a lot of people.
Yes.
Even with my PCOS journey, that is what caused me eventually. So that's what caused me to inquire about my symptoms, but it's also what caused me to stop listening to information.
Yeah.
And I think some information is great. Don't get me wrong. Like, it opens up a different perspective in you. But if you're constantly looking at content that's saying, here's one more pill you need to add, take this supplement if you want this.
There are no quick fixes.
Zero.
Yeah.
Zero.
And I think in the age of short content, people are trying to give you a lot of value in 30 seconds, 45 seconds, which is not possible.
No, it's not.
That's why I'm very much against the short content.
Yeah.
I always like long form content.
Well, you train also your attention span to increase if you watch long content, right?
Yes.
As opposed to short form content, you need to be compelled within 3 seconds, which is really hard to do.
Yes. But I want to ask you, as an influencer, do you, because I get a lot of burnouts and I don't use social media, or I don't even post as much. And I many times feel that, okay, this is my private life. Why I have to share everything? But then at the same time, if you're out there, it becomes your responsibility to share. So do you sometimes feel tired of that and you take breaks and
yeah.
How do you?
I actually don't think it's my responsibility to share my life, to be honest.
Yeah.
I share what I want to share. Oftentimes I ask myself, does this provide value, not entertainment? For me, so when we started social media during the pandemic times, so what was that,
2019 or 2020?
2020-ish?
2020, yeah.
Yeah. I think we really went hard in 2021. And that's when I was getting a lot of brand collaborations. All of our videos would go viral. This is mainly on TikTok. I would get so many negative comments about myself, about my body, about me. Like, no matter what I did, no matter how perfectly I tried to show up, and trust me, I was very much a perfectionist back then. No matter how perfectly I showed up, people would find something they didn't like about me.
Okay.
And that's, you're not going to like everyone, right? That's okay. So I took maybe over a year and a half off of social media. I'm like, I can't do this anymore because it really caused me a lot of stress. But also to that, we used to post a lot of entertaining content. And in my head, I'm like, I am not a show monkey. Like, I don't want to come on here dancing and prancing around. Like, it felt unfulfilling to me. And sometimes we would post the kids as well. Now I have a pretty strict policy against posting my kids, but I've also told myself that I don't owe anybody anything. I don't owe you access to me or to my life. And I ask myself now, does this provide you value? If this provides you value, I'll post it. Sometimes it is nice to share, like I shared my daughter's drawing, or sometimes I'll share a picture of her and I in my stories. But when I want to, not because I feel obligated. So yes, I feel burnt out. No, I don't feel like I need to share my life with anybody. I think actually the more you can keep private, the better. But if you share tips, that's great.
Yeah, and I agree to the part that when you are posting to educate rather than showing off, that makes all the difference.
It does.
And you don't burn out even.
No, exactly.
Because you're very conscious of what you are putting out there.
Exactly, for sure.
But how did you manage those negative comments? Because I recently started this podcast and I think until this day, we only have 3-4 negative comments. I won't say it affected me a lot, but I was just assuming if this will pick up and I'll have a lot more negative comments, how will I take it?
Yeah.
So it's hard.
It's hard. It was hard for me then because I didn't like myself then. It's easy for me now because I like myself now, right? So I think the perspective I have is the people who are leaving you negative comments are projecting their pain onto you.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
So what they're saying is not a reflection of you, but a reflection of them. So if you can remember that, whatever they say to you, you can let it roll off of you.
Yes.
I actually, you know what my response is now? Okay, strategically, once or twice, I'll comment back to you. But after that, I see you're worked up and you're doubling down on your perspective. I say, thank you for the engagement. And they will never message you after that.
yeah, that. When someone see a strong woman today, like yourself, we fail to believe that they had their own fair share of struggles, right? They were not this version always. So just take us back to the version of you that was struggling and a lot of self-doubts.
So firstly, what you said is so accurate, right? Because even when I go to the gym, if somebody sees me with my cupping, which we were discussing, they say, like, what do you need this for? And I always say, oh, it's for tension so that my body can feel relaxed. And they're like, oh, you don't need that. You're great. You're good. You know, so people see you as the finished package. They don't see the struggle behind it, right? So for me, I got diagnosed probably around 27. And I think that's such an important age for all adults, right? Because what do they say? The prefrontal cortex starts developing or finishes developing around that age too. So for me, we were just constantly eating takeout. I was always tired. I had so much acne. I was always in this phase of trying to lose the last 10, 15 pounds. From the outside, you would never think I had weight to lose, right? But I was constantly bloated or had stomach problems. Everything I ate would cause lots of pain for me. So eventually I started to say, okay, something's not working here. And I'm going to admit that it came from vanity first because I had a certain aesthetic in mind for myself. I wanted to look a certain way. But also, if I did this, all my hair would fall out. So obviously a sign that my body was in high stress, that something wasn't working for me. And so I had to do a lot of advocating for myself in the medical world, right? I had to go to my doctor and say, I really need help with this, and that. The first thing they did was prescribe me medication. And I said, no, I'm not taking that, right? So that kind of started the journey and allowed me to kind of start peeling back the layers of what was working and what wasn't working for me.
So you said PCOS, right? When were you diagnosed with PCOS?
27.
27.
Yeah, I'm almost 36 now. So
Okay.
it's been a long journey.
Yeah. And what are some of the misconceptions that people have about PCOS now that you have figured out your journey? And you told me that you have learned to manage it. You have not completely healed it.
No,
So
I haven't. I
yeah.
think the road to healing PCOS is a very long road. It goes two ways, right? A lot of times they say you need to just lose weight,
Yes.
which is valid. It is true. You do need to lose weight. However, how much weight was I going to lose? I was like 120 pounds at the time. So that wasn't the solution. And then when you go speak to your doctor after you've been diagnosed, there's actually no answers.
Yeah.
Nobody really has any idea of what could be causing this except just speculation, right? Oh, it could be this and it could be that. But that doesn't give you a roadmap of how to fix anything, right?
Yeah.
And then the next thing they do is tell you, just go on birth control.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah, just go on birth control. Now, the confusing part for me was I exercised all the time. I ate healthy, not as healthy as I do now, but I ate healthy. I tried to get my sleep in. I tried to get my steps in. Picture perfect. They didn't really have any help. The only thing they tell you is lose weight, go on birth control. These are the two solutions.
So what did you do then?
I can take you down my entire journey, right? I spent thousands and thousands of dollars.
Okay.
I went through a holistic practitioner. I don't actually even to this day know his real title. He was very helpful, as in he hooked me up to this Chinese medicine machine. And essentially he puts it on all the acupressure points, and it tells you what's out of balance in your body. And it was
Okay.
truly eye-opening because for the first time, it reflected how I felt inside.
Okay.
So the doctor would say, because they do your blood work, right? They say, okay, we're going to test your androgens, your testosterone, your estrogen, everything, right? They tested my androgens. My androgen level was at a 12. It should have been under 10, something like that.
Okay.
But what does the doctor say? Oh, it's fine, you're normal. But I don't feel normal. I feel unwell. My hair is falling out. And then you have these fears, right? I'm going to go bald. I'm going to be overweight my whole life because that's the image that PCOS comes with, right? Or I'm going to have acne all my life. I thought this was behind me in my teen years, right? But what do you do when you have no weight to lose?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? What do you do? And there's so many women who the solution is not just lose weight. There are women who are skinny, who are slender, who whatever, who still have PCOS.
Yeah.
So through my journey, I eventually fired the holistic practitioner because I realized that my symptoms would be managed so long as I keep paying him money. I was paying $500 in supplements.
Okay.
And I thought there would be a magic pill that will get rid of everything. And that's maybe the biggest misconception, in my opinion, is that you think you see on social media so much information and it says, take this if you have low estrogen, take this if you have high testosterone. Nobody's actually addressing the root
Yes.
of that.
Another thing that you really expressed very well in again looking at your profile, that there is a difference between looking healthy and actually being healthy.
Yeah.
There are so many people because they are lean, we think they are healthy, but they are not. And you were also sharing that when you were 13% body fat, just 13% body fat.
I think I was about 14, but yeah.
14,
Yeah.
you looked amazing, but
Yeah.
then you were at your lowest health wise.
Yeah.
So yeah, would you like to talk about that?
Yeah, for sure. So this was part of my healing journey. So I don't really shame myself for where I was then. because I was doing candida cleanses. Like everything I ate used to give me a horrible reaction, or it would give me acne. And finally, I stumbled upon a friend of mine, actually, who's a holistic nutritionist, said, you should try the candida cleanse because you seem to have all the symptoms. I had the acne, the bloat, the brain fog, severe brain fog. I could start talking and I would forget what I was saying within seconds. So eventually I went on this candida cleanse and my life changed. I literally dropped
What is
7.
that, if you
So
don't mind
a
sharing?
candida cleanse, I hope I'm not butchering this, okay? Because I'm not a professional in this field, but you essentially starve your body off of candida overgrowth. So too much fungus, so it's an antifungal diet, either too much fungus, too much sugar in the body, right? So because I had all the symptoms, I agreed to go on it, and then I was taking antifungal pills. It's all natural pills like black walnut, oil of oregano, things like that. I dropped 7% body fat within 2 weeks. All of my acne disappeared. My anxiety went away. Everything stabilized in my body. And it took maybe 3 rounds of this candida cleanse for me to realize that when I go on this cleanse, although I look incredible by my standards, it would push me into like a disordered mentality where I would become very obsessive about what I ate or what I couldn't eat, right? So yes, I was 14% body fat. I looked great in a bathing suit, but then I was constantly obsessing over food. What can I eat? What can't I eat? If I eat this, then this bad thing is going to happen. And obviously this was all coming from fear. It was coming from not wanting to feel sick because I had felt sick for so long with no answers, and I finally gained control. And when I had that control, I wanted to hold on to it. So I think it was just after last summer, I said, I'm never doing that again. I don't care if I have extra belly fat in my bathing suit. I will only do it if it's absolutely medically necessary. And I will not do it just so I can maintain a certain appearance. Because that tends to be what happens to us females, right?
Yes.
You get the most compliments when you shrink yourself down to nothing. So...
And when did you actually improve your relation with food? Because it's quite a journey, right?
Yeah.
And most of the women have a very messed up relationship with food. So when did you actually improve your relationship and what it felt like?
Last summer.
Okay.
Last summer. Because I think I did the candida cleanse for a period last summer. And it's always when I'm starting to get those symptoms again. My personality can be a little extreme sometimes. I'm either all in or I'm all out. I'm not the type of person who eases my way into things. I just go hard, right? And that usually works for me, but it has its disadvantages, right? So last summer, I think I went on it at the beginning, and then my son actually was the one who said, when I declared, I'm like, I'm not going to do a candida cleanse ever again. He's like, thank God.
Oh.
He's like, you're so miserable when you eat that way.
Okay. And what were you eating in that cleanse?
You're not allowed any carbs.
Oh, okay.
No carbs. You're not even allowed mango. Watermelon, mango, melons. You can only eat very low sugar fruits. So what started off as healing turned into disordered mentality. And then last summer...
what were you eating during that cleanse?
Protein, veggies, green apples, berries.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. So when he said, thank God you were so miserable on this, I was like, okay, it's time for me to move past that and go into a more, even though it was holistic healing, go into more of a holistic approach towards my own life. So I think that's when I started to heal my relationship with food. I was already on the journey of kind of healing that relationship because before I would restrict my calories all throughout the week. And then by the weekend, I would be so hungry or feel so deprived that I felt like I had to just compensate.
Yeah.
And that was like a roller coaster of its own. And that,
but because you saw the results, you were enticed to do it more.
I also felt so much better. I felt, because PCOS is insulin resistance, right? So even to this day, I keep my carbs fairly low, but a lot higher than what I was eating previously. but I do try to be very mindful of my insulin levels. So that's what it started out as. But then it very quickly morphs, right? Because you become almost addicted to that.
Yeah. You were sharing with me that for a very big chunk of your life, you always felt you don't look good enough. And I think that's a story of every woman. Why
Yeah.
is that? Because I felt the same growing
course.
up, and I have seen some of the most beautiful women, including you,
Oh, thank you.
who used to feel the same way. Why and from where that thought comes in us that okay, we are not good enough? When I look at other women, I can counsel them really well.
Me too.
That okay, you're perfect, and not that I'm just saying the words. I really feel they are
Yeah,
pretty,
yeah.
but we are always so hard on ourselves.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, I think that's a loaded question, right? Because I think it just stems from what you observe since you're a tiny little girl, right?
Yeah.
You do, wherever you look, you do see that there is a beauty standard, and sometimes you feel very far removed from that beauty standard, right? Even myself as a white immigrant, because I come from Albania, when I came here in 98 and we would go to Zellers, this is way back in the day, it doesn't
What's
exist anymore.
Zellers?
Zellers is like a Walmart.
Okay.
This is before it closed down.
Okay.
When I would go and I would look at the Barbies, all of the most beautiful Barbies, blonde, blue-eyed, tall, slender, right? But that's the image that's sold to us since we're little. You flip open a magazine, same image. Same thing happens from hearing the women in our lives talk, right? Like I'm willing to bet that even when you were little, you heard all the women in your life always obsessing over the negative things over their bodies, right?
Yes.
How can it not affect you?
As a mother, what do you do for your daughter so that she doesn't go through the whole?
So for me, I focus on strength in the home. I try not to say, oh, I hate the way this looks. I don't like this here. I don't, whatever. If I say it, it might be in private to my husband or to my sister when there are no little ears around. But for my daughter, I always say, if I look at, like, I take a lot of selfies, okay? Fitness progress. And I will always show her, like, look at this deadlift I did. Look how heavy it was. Look at my abs. Look how strong my stomach looks. My shoulders are growing. So a lot of my emphasis for my body is around growing, muscular wise.
It's not about what is lacking. It's about the good parts.
I try my best. Maybe I slip. I'm not perfect.
Yeah.
Like, that conditioning is still deep in me.
Yes.
But if she were to ever point out something negative about herself, I always say, I will not allow you to talk about my daughter like that. So, yeah.
So, I think a lot of moms are being very conscious now. I was talking to a friend, and we were talking the same thing, how she always felt she's very ugly, and I was talking, I always felt, and then others made us feel. And then her little daughter was listening, and we did not realize she's all ears. And she was like, I also felt the same way. And I said, what? That I'm the most beautiful girl. And I was like, yeah. And I was complimenting my friend, you're doing a great job as a mother. She always tell her, you are the most beautiful. And words are very powerful, right?
They are.
We start believing what we hear.
Oh, absolutely. Of course.
In that sense, Canada helped me a lot because I was very dusky. So in India, people have a obsession for fair complexion.
Yes.
So I was always made to believe like, I have a deformity because of my complexion. But when I moved here, I came to know that people like dusky complexion because it is less available. That made me realize that, okay, beauty standards are also very relative. What might be beautiful in one culture is not the same in the other, and why we are messing up ourselves, for these stupid standards that are changing, that are not even constant.
Well, I'll tell you this, when it comes to skin tone, I spend a lot of time in the sun. A lot in the summertime. I will be laid out in front of the sun all day if you let me. So you always want what you don't have to, right?
And in India, there were big scams. There were creams that were claiming that within 6 weeks you can change your complexion. Thank God now it's changing. And now the name of the cream was Fair and Lovely.
My client told me about that.
Yeah, and they would have advertisements like one girl is not finding any job, and then suddenly she applied this cream, she's more beautiful, and then she's very successful.
Oh my
And now when
goodness.
I look back, I'm like, why?
That's
This was so
crazy.
unnecessary,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Well, my daughter is more on the brown tone,
Mm-hmm.
and I encourage her, go play in the sun.
Yes.
Go.
Yes.
I don't want you to think that that's something that makes you less beautiful.
Yes. As someone who has, I won't say 100%, but very much healed her relationship with food and found a path to fitness,
Mhm.
what would you suggest for someone who is just starting and is very messed up, lack discipline,
Okay.
where to begin with? Because you cannot be a perfect person, right?
Yeah.
How to start the journey?
Okay, so if I were to talk to a client, let's say,
Hmm.
I would say first you need to sit down and have awareness about yourself and your lifestyle.
Hmm.
So you don't know what to fix if you don't know what to fix, right?
Yes.
So where are you bleeding from is what I always ask. If, for example, I just made a video about this yesterday.
Yeah.
If, for example, you have weight that you want to lose, but you're not meal prepping, you're not exercising, you're sleeping at all crazy times of the night, and you're constantly buying takeout, right?
Hmm.
If you're doing all of those things, then at least if you know that, you could sit down and say, okay, here's a plan for how to eat less takeout, for example, right?
Hmm.
So I always say, even if you buy a rotisserie chicken and prepackaged salad, that's better than relying on takeout, right? So I know meal prep, right? Meal prep is very daunting for people. It's very intimidating. Would you agree?
I don't know because I cook my fresh meals.
I like
Yeah,
to as
and I have the
well.
luxury to do that. So
Yeah. But for most people, meal prep
Yeah.
feels like this very intimidating task. Like, I don't know where to start. I don't know what to do. I would say you need to sit down and audit your lifestyle. That would be step number one. Once you audit your lifestyle, you can see what you need to change. If you need to meal prep, all you need, my goodness, these days you can go on ChatGPT,
Yeah.
Claude, whatever you use, and you can ask, how do I do this? How many
Yeah.
calories do I need for somebody this height and this weight? I think that's where I would start. In terms of healing, though, are you talking about just fitness in general or healing as
In
well?
general, yeah, healing as well. Because I think a lot of it comes down to the relationship that you have with your body and with your food.
With
And
yourself?
with yourself. And if that is messed up, even if you are disciplined for 2 days, you'll come back to the
Of
square
course.
one.
Yeah.
Because you have to work on the basics first.
Yeah. I think it's two things, right? And you asked me something earlier where I gave you the answer that I fired my holistic practitioner guy.
Yes.
The reason that I did that is because I realized that the answers are not outside of myself, firstly. The answers are within me. But also, there is no magic pill and no quick fix. And that sucks because it would be nice if you could take a pill for the rest of your life and you would never lose your hair again and you would never get acne and whatever else. But I realized that I was desperate at the time. And because I was desperate, my logic had gone out the window. I was willing to spend money I did not even have at the time just so I can find some relief. And I think a lot of people are in that same position. I came across this one lady's Instagram that I can share with you. And she said, PCOS specifically is a nervous system dysregulation problem. It is not that you can take this magic supplement and this magic pill or sleep 9 hours and you're going to heal it. If you are not dealing with your inner conflicts, your trauma, your negative talk towards yourself, if you're not going to heal those things, and maybe this sounds woo, right? Like it sounds too airy-fairy and majestic, but if you're not going to deal with those things that were causing you to go into overdrive to begin with, then you're not going to heal the root cause. You're just going to manage the symptoms. So that for me was groundbreaking and eye-opening because I really did think if I just do this one next right thing, then I'm going to heal myself. But it was using the same method that made me sick to try to heal myself. And that wasn't going to work.
Yeah.
The second thing I will say is if you have broken systems in your life, and this is why I was saying you need to audit yourself and you need to audit your lifestyle. If you have broken systems, like you don't make any time to meal prep, for example, for people who are busy or who are working outside of the home. If you're not meal prepping, if you're not exercising, but you have certain goals for yourself, you can't plug in good habits into a broken system, right? So if your foundation is shaky, then everything you do is going to be unsustainable.
Yes.
So for me, actually, Cam, my husband, is the one who said, we need to sit down every Sunday and we need to schedule. And I hated it. I was so resistant. I would try to get out of it like a child every single Sunday. And he would be like, no, come sit down. We're going to do it. So I had to write in, and he did the same for himself. This is when our clients are during the day, during the week. This is when we're going to go to the gym. This is the day we're going to do meal prep, and so on and so forth. So we took all of the lifestyle things that were keeping us stuck, and we found a solution for them. And I think for me, I was an expert criticizer. I could criticize myself all day long.
High five.
Right? All day long, I could say,
Yeah.
this is what I'm doing wrong. You're failing here, you're failing here, you're failing there. But I was a horrible solution person. I could not come up with a solution. And I think if you're going to be stuck in that self-criticism, you're just bullying yourself, hoping that you can shame yourself into a good lifestyle. And it's never going to work, right?
Yes. Yeah. Where did that come from, you think?
Which?
The self-criticizing part.
I'm a woman.
No, but still, did you ever give it a thought? Like,
of course. Yeah, of course. I think I just grew up with very high standards. All the women in my family have very high standards. And it's great. It's what makes me good at a lot of the things that I do.
Yeah.
And it drives me. And I'm very detail oriented and meticulous, right? But then when you turn that towards yourself, it's like you make yourself an enemy. And you can't heal a body you hate.
I have, maybe I'm totally wrong, but I have felt immigrants are extra hard on themselves because
Very
there is
hard.
always this drive to prove, make a life. Do you agree?
100% agree.
Yeah.
100%. I feel like, and actually I joke about this a lot. I always can relate to another immigrant. It doesn't matter if you come from the opposite side of the world from me.
Yes.
I will always relate because we grew up with the same mentality and struggle.
Yeah, there's this extra drive, to prove and to be ahead. I don't know why.
It's like you're always looking over your shoulder to see,
Yes.
like, is that guy doing it better than me?
Yeah.
And why? I can push myself more.
Yeah. Yeah.
And rest is not a thing in our cultures, is it?
Yeah.
It's not a thing.
No.
It's like you don't rest until everything is done
Yeah.
and done perfectly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. True. And you said you used to hate yourself back then. I think 2020, right?
Yeah.
And 2026 we are in. What shifted? What majorly shifted? And was it like a quick shift, very dramatic, or it happened over a period of time? Because sometimes life can just change, just flip in one day, right? It has been that way for me for a lot of things. So was it something dramatic that made you love yourself, or it was?
No, not at all. I think this whole healing journey is what changed things for me. Once I realized that a lot of my PCOS struggles were because I was people pleasing, and everything I did in my life was to make sure that I was perceived as perfect, so that, I mean, you keep yourself safe if you're perfect, right? You don't ruffle any feathers. You don't ever tell anyone they've upset you. You just carry everything. You carry everything yourself, right? And I realized that through social media, remember the story I told you where no matter how perfectly I showed up, there would be people who didn't like me and who had something negative to say about me. And so I was thinking to myself, why am I sacrificing my peace of mind, my time, everything else, so that I can appear perfect to other people? And that started kind of the unraveling of my healing journey, where I started to ask myself, I stopped weight training really, and I started to do yoga and meditate and things like that. And I would ask myself, who am I doing this for? It's not for me. It was always for the the criticism towards myself. If I could change those things, then I would finally be happy, right? So I think it started with awareness. It started firstly with getting sick, then awareness that I was making myself sick because I was constantly performing for everyone. And then eventually I started to I stopped doing the things that were causing me to burn out or the things that were causing me to people please. And then I just started to be more honest.
And I think we have glamorized women being strong so much that we often overlook it comes with a cost.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, for sure.
You can-
Burnout.
yeah.
Like
but-
you're not meant to live such a fast-paced life as a woman. We
Yes.
are on a 28-day cycle if you're lucky, 28
Yes.
days. Just like the moon has cycles,
Yes.
you have cycles throughout the month, right? So
Exactly.
you're not meant to live like a man.
Yes. But unfortunately we are doing that. We are in that trap.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I've broken myself out of that trap. So
So how do you, because I have seen, you do deadlifts, how do you time that with your cycles? Like how do you go about it?
I go based on how I feel.
Okay.
So generally, I mean, with my PCOS, sometimes my symptoms are unpredictable. So for example, if I'm on my period, I might be super energetic and then near the end of my period, I start to crash and slow down. But I only do what I can that day. So if I go into the gym and I pick up the weight that I would normally do and it feels light, then I might push a little bit harder. If I pick up a weight that I would normally warm up with and it feels really hard, I'm going to keep my weight fairly low. So I really just go off of how my body is feeling. And that requires for you to check in though, right?
The key is to listen to your body every single day.
Yeah.
Especially for women, because every day our bodies are different.
Exactly. Well, this morning I was telling you when I walked in, I woke up at 4:30 with a migraine. And by 8 o'clock in the morning, I could barely function. And I was supposed to go to the gym today before this. And I kept feeling this guilt, like, oh, I should go. Like, take an Advil and go. And then I took the Advil, my headache went away, and I said, I don't want to go. I don't want to push myself right now. I want to sit down and do some computer work, clean the house, do these things I need to catch up on,
But at the same time, a person like you who is super disciplined, how you draw the line that, okay, this is what my body needs and not my mind tricking me? Because sometimes our mind also find ways to trick us that today you are tired, today you are hungry, but you are actually not today you are hungry. I mean, when we look at some junk
For
food,
sure.
we are hungry, but we are not actually hungry. It's just a false hunger pang. So how do you draw the line? Because I feel that is where it's very tricky for women.
No, that's a good question. Yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, when it comes to exercise, let's say, I'm very disciplined. I'm also very disciplined with my food. But I've gone on the opposite end, which is kind of why it's hard to answer the question, right? Because I work out, and when I work out very hard. However, if I really don't feel like working out that day, I tell myself, you've done enough. You've worked out really hard. It's time for you to listen to your body and take a rest. When it comes to food, I'm also very disciplined. So I don't eat sugar, I don't eat gluten, and I don't eat dairy. So I keep my food lean and clean, I guess. But if I'm really feeling hungry after I've eaten a meal, I'm going to eat something. I don't know. Like, I don't think that this is meant to be a punishment.
Yeah.
I think you're supposed to listen to your body. Close to your period, you're probably hungry, right? That's not in your head. That is biology.
Yes.
However, if I have allowed myself, for example, we've instituted a new thing on Fridays where we make sandwiches at home, but like fancy sandwiches. If I've had bread that day, and bread doesn't react well with me, I'm not going to eat bread again until the next Friday. You know what I mean? So I think you also have to be aware. If you've had takeout yesterday, it's probably time to cook your dinner tonight,
Yeah. But so if I understood it properly, you don't have a problem with discipline because you are very disciplined, and discipline is not something that we can learn overnight, right?
No.
It comes, it boils down to the years of upbringing. So when you work with your clients and people are generally not that disciplined, how do you work with them? What do you tell them?
In terms of their food or?
Both food and exercise, or just, sticking to the good habits in general.
So I say, and this has been my motto, stick to the plan, not your mood. Your mood is fleeting, right? All day, 1 second you're happy, the next second you're angry. If you are constantly following your emotions, you're going to feel out of control in your life and you're constantly going to sabotage yourself, right? So if you have said, you know what, in this season of my life, I would like to get really strong at the gym and drop some body fat. And if you have a plan in place for that, you need to follow that plan. It doesn't matter how you feel that day. However, if you've been very disciplined for a period of time and you're really feeling like you need a rest, take the rest. So it's nuanced, right? Like it's not so black and white because it depends. You need to check, you audit yourself and you say, do I constantly try to get out of doing hard things? If you're constantly trying to get out of doing hard things, then I would say follow the plan. Follow the plan, not your mood.
That's a good one. Follow the plan, not your mood, especially for women who are super moody.
Yeah. I mean, we have every right to feel moody.
Yeah.
But if you actually want to build discipline in your life, you need to follow your word. Like if you said, I'm going to do this for myself. And I think it's really deep, right? To say follow the plan and not your mood is actually an act of love towards yourself, right? Because if you are constantly saying, if you believe you deserve the best, right? Then you are going to exercise and you're going to treat your body well. So you're going to eat well. You're going to sleep. You're not going to drink alcohol and smoke, right? So I think it is really deep.
Yes. Yeah. So when you work with women, what is one goal that you have for all of them? Not in terms of fitness, but what do you want? I don't know. I'm not able to put the question well.
I think I know what you're asking.
Yeah.
Now, I'll answer and you tell me if I'm on the right track. So I don't know. I think that us women, we have been taught to hate ourselves from a very young age, right? Yeah. And I think that we would all make a lot better choices for ourselves if we learned to have more boundaries, if we stopped trying to be so nice to everyone but ourselves, right? Like we're so nice to the people around us. We don't want to offend anyone. We don't want to be perceived negatively, right? We don't want to be a bee or take up too much space. I think a lot of your healing happens when you tell yourself, I'm going to be firm with my boundaries. Because if you're firm with your boundaries, you're going to be firm with your boundaries yourself, but with other people. Because oftentimes we overextend, right? We pour into everyone's cup, even when we have nothing in ours. So I would say a true act of self-love and the beginning of your healing starts with self-love, but you also need to pour into yourself first. It's not a selfish thing.
Yes. And suddenly, I remind this on a very different note, this reel of yours where you were talking that I don't know why these people are so lazy. Everyone is lining up to find a close spot.
It drives me crazy.
That was so hilarious and so true. I mean, you are young, you can walk 100 meters, but everyone want to get that spot. What's that like?
And they're fighting for the spot. This is what drives me crazy. Walk.
Yeah.
Even when when my kids were little, I used to strap one to the front of me and put one on my shoulders, and I would walk with them. Even if we had to take the very last parking spot, I don't care. Let's walk. Let's move.
And that brings me to your almost the last question. Mother's Day is coming. What do you how do you think motherhood has changed you as a person?
Oh, I think I don't know, it's my whole identity, right?
Yes.
I think I had my son when I was 22, so I was really young, and I had to grow up myself, right?
Yeah.
And my mom set a very high bar because she's like, if you think I'm a perfectionist, she's times 10, right?
Okay.
That generation often is.
Yes.
I think motherhood has taught me to slow down a little bit, to be mindful of my words, because would you say that?
And actions.
Right. Would you say that to your kids? And would you be proud of your kids if they turned out like you? Right? If your answer is no to that, then you have some healing to do, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's changed me in every sense of the word.
Because my guru tells that when a child comes to your life, it is not the time you teach them, it is the time you learn, because that's a fresh life
Yeah.
and they have so much better understanding of life than you. So what are some of the things that you have learned from your kids?
Oh, so many things. I'll have to think about that one. I think from my daughter, she's so, when you're younger, you have this excitement for life. You have this, like, I want to celebrate everything. Then life gets hard and heavy, and you're like, what's the point, right? What's the point of this? What's the point of that? And suddenly you're saving everything for a special day. So my daughter reminds me that celebrate, like,
Yes.
live your life.
And she's a dancer.
She's a dancer, she's an artist, she's many things. She is like unfiltered raw potential, right? And we're all that, aren't we? Except we put these rules on ourselves and limitations on ourselves.
Yeah.
So I would say from her, I've learned that. From my son, he's a very jokey guy too. Like, he's very deep, but things don't always need to be so serious, right? Like, you're allowed to have fun with it. You're allowed to crack a joke and crack a smile instead of constantly putting your head down and just working and being serious all the time.
That's lovely.
They are good kids though. So.
Yeah, that's good. So before we close this conversation, Kerolin, I want you, whosoever is listening to you, what message would you like to give to those women?
The message I would give is, don't be afraid to advocate for yourself. Don't be afraid to use your own womanly intuition when something isn't feeling right for you. But more importantly, don't be afraid to pour into yourself, to set boundaries, to ask for what you want. Because I think we do ourselves a disservice when we're constantly trying to please everyone around us, and then we are left feeling empty. So that's what I would say to women.
I think many women needed to hear this today.
Definitely.
Thank you so much, Kerolin. It was wonderful to have you, and I'm looking forward to many more conversations with you.
Likewise. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.